and have you go to makeup. The only color is going to be orange. Like a sunset. And it's going to be the sunset on mankind. Because Trump tour. The embarrassing.
Oh my god.
Sounds great, Vince. Like, who's his first match going to be against? Bastion Booger. Then there's that saying, and then the bell rang.
Yeah. Oh my god. That'd be hilarious. Trump tour.
Fucking ring the bell, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh fuck.
But like getting back to Jericho for a quick second, the only thing that really kind of made me think, the thing that kind of made me think about it, and I was a little pissed off about it, was he was actually Rosenbaum's guest this week on Inside of You.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Has anyone called him out on that yet? To be like, dude, you gave money to Trump or whatever, or no?
I'm sure people have on Twitter, and he's just mostly ignoring him, if anything.
I mean, he's allowed to support whoever he wants to support, right? But at the same time,
that's true. But I mean, here, like, my angle on it is like, you look like a douche for doing it because everything that's happened the past like 4 or 5 years, you're saying, you know what, I'm okay with this. Like him holding, giant rallies where nobody's wearing a fucking mask, fucking leaving his supporters stranded. That was fucking just a total dick move.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Separating kids from their fucking families, for they're trying to look for a fucking better life and whatnot. Like, just like the mountain of shit that's happened. You're saying like all of this is okay because I got a tax break. Like,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it kind of goes back to like, does he necessarily condone all that shit or not? I mean, you'd have to ask him. I mean, what is it that he supports about Trump and what is it that he doesn't? You know?
True, but
I mean, you can't assume either way. Because I mean, I could ask you like, oh, if you support Biden, then you just support, like sniffing women and shit, like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could go the other way, too.
And here's the thing, man. I'll be open about this. I did not vote for Biden either.
I thought you were going to be like, I'll be open about this. I do support sniffing women.
Goddamn strawberries, pal.
Oh, fuck.
But no, like, I didn't vote for Biden either. It said, whoever the fucking candidates are, I wrote in Bernie Sanders.
Nice. I was tempted to write in like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because honestly, I would love Dwayne The Rock Johnson as our president. I don't think we could pick a better president than Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I don't know. I'd want to know his policies first. Like, what's your stance on this? What's your stance on that? It can't just be like, I mean, he's The Rock.
Well, no, but I mean, just based on like how he's held himself in interviews and what you've heard and seen of him, he just seems like a very down to earth, realistic guy. He seems like the kind of guy who wouldn't be very extremist, and that's kind of what we need.
Yeah, but I know the guy's like just oozing with fucking charisma and whatnot. But again, like you'd want to know his policies.
You're right. That's what it's all about. I just want to The Rock. Yeah, just put him as president.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, voting for Hollywood politicians, so to speak, doesn't exactly have a good track record right now, does it? You think about it, it's like there's Trump and there's fucking Reagan.
Yeah, that's true.
Both of them giant fucking disasters.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, Trump is carrying the fucking load on that one, but I mean, still.
I ended up voting for someone who ultimately, I kind of regret my vote, honestly, but, in hindsight, because it was sort of before I had my quote-unquote political awakening, if you will, which happened very late in the end, very late, like 2020, if you will, so where I kind of was rethinking how I think about things, but it was obviously too late to change your vote at that point, right, and obviously Trump would have a fit about that. Hey, sir, I want to change my vote. Bullshit!
No, you can't do it.
Which is fair. You shouldn't be able to change your vote. Yeah. That's bullshit, but...
I mean, that's another thing we didn't bring up, too, is just, like, that call that he had with the, I think it was the Secretary of State for the state of Georgia, when he pretty much says, like, I want you to find 11,780 votes, essentially enough votes for me to win by one.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to find those votes. Like, nobody will blame you if you come out and say, well, we recalculated everything. It's like, well, no, we have calculated everything 3 times. You lost every fucking time. Like,
have they really counted it that many times? 3 times?
Yeah, they did like 3 fucking recounts.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that we have him on audio, like, asking for this bullshit. And like
Yeah,
the guy in Georgia, like, kind of a smart move in the sense of like recording the phone call, but he said like, look, if Trump had kept quiet about everything, didn't say anything about it, he's like, we would have kept the audio to ourselves. He's like, instead he goes on Twitter, fucking like start bad mouthing me and my attorney that's on the phone call. I think it was his attorney, this guy Ryan Germany or something like that.
mhm.
But started saying, oh, this guy's a loser. He doesn't want what's best for Georgia. Blah blah blah. He's just like, all right, here's the fucking audio of you telling me like, hey, we need to find votes. Like you essentially trying to steal the election, something you claiming that fucking Biden and the Democrats are doing.
I was gonna say, isn't that election fraud? I
Yeah,
mean, what is that if it's not?
yeah,
Like,
and like there were Republicans that came out and they were pissed off about it, but not for the
good.
right reason. They were
Oh
they
no.
were pissed off that the guy he has no sense of privacy. That's a recorded phone call. Like how dare he? How dare he record a phone call like that? Like
Sense of
what the
privacy from the people who basically were responsible for the Patriot Act.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like you motherfucker, like goddamn motherfuckers.
I feel like in a lot of ways, like the Patriot Act is in here we go with wrestling again. In much the same way
It
that
always
that
comes
the cat
back.
is out of the bag, it always comes back, man. In much the way that like the cat is out of the bag with wrestling because people know that it's staged or whatever, it's predetermined. The cat's out of the bag with like politics too, and I feel like or like with the Patriot Act, like now that people can sort of peer into whatever they want, kind of, or the government at least can peer into whatever they want, however they want, like there's no putting that genie back in the bottle, man.
No, they're
And I'm not one of these people that has like a lot to hide, and I'm like, oh my god, it's.
no, it's
I think I think it's terrible. I think it's violating a lot of people's privacy. I don't particularly care because I don't have much to hide, but at the same time, I do kind of take offense to part of my privacy being gone for the illusion of security,
yeah,
of heightened security.
it's the principle of it.
Right. It is the principle of it. Because honestly, what are you protecting me from? Because like, can you really tell me that things are really that much safer? Like people can still get around shit. Like people get around shit all the time. That's why like people supporting like higher gun laws. I'm not a gun guy, but like, is that really going to solve the problem? Like how many criminals are actually following the laws? So how much is a law going to prevent something like that from happening? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to me.
True.
But I don't know. That's not to say I know what the solution is. I just don't think it's what a lot of people are touting about, like
No,
trying to be more restrictive. Like it's like we saw with prohibition. That doesn't work. Tightening things down doesn't work. It does the opposite.
no. But I mean, here's the thing too. It's that you know, every time there's been like a school shooting, for example, there's people, oh, thoughts and prayers. If we could only do something, it's like, well, we can. You're choosing not to do anything. I don't have the answers, but you guys have a fucking think tank around you and say, okay, what the fuck can we do to stop this? And you've
Yeah.
done nothing.
I think I've heard. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Shapiro, but I think he said that he went to a school with like a lot of security and shit like that, and like that. So it seems like the more security presence there is, maybe that would help. And if they have to be armed, then so be it. But I don't think that taking away people's firearms is necessarily going to make things safer. Because again,
No,
people are still going to get shit. And if it's not guns, it's going to be something else, right? And sure, guns can be more lethal than say a knife. You can do a lot more damage a lot faster with a gun than you can a knife, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's not gonna. It's an illusion to think that okay, all of a sudden, if we make stricter gun laws, knife laws, whatever it is, that okay, now all of a sudden things are safe. Like you can't live in a bubble. Something is going to happen at some point, and it's
no,
unavoidable, and it's tragic. But we have to find a way to make people less inclined to commit these issues is really what the problem is.
true.
To
But
commit these crimes. That's really what the problem is
true. But I mean,
people.
here's another like just an example for you. Um, now, if somebody like I'll just toss out a scenario for you, and I'll see what your response is. Let's just say, for example, like guy goes to jail because he fucking beat the shit out of his girlfriend.
Hmm.
So aggravated assault, whatever the charges may be.
Hmm.
He gets out. He wants to buy a gun. Should he be allowed to?
I think people with a history of aggression probably should not be allowed to own a gun, or probably, I would say probably not. No, I don't think so. People with a history of aggression, no, I don't think so.
Okay. So I mean, that's like that's at
I,
least like
I think we need to do checks on people to make sure, like the right people are getting guns.
yeah,
But at the same time, nothing is stopping that guy from stealing a gun or getting a friend of his. Well, supposedly the gun that Kurt Cobain killed himself with was a gun that he didn't even purchase himself. His friend bought it for him.
really.
So, Yeah. And I mean, Kurt had other guns that he purchased himself. It's not like he couldn't purchase the gun himself, but for whatever reason, in this circumstance, Dylan, his friend, purchased the gun that he ended up killing himself with. So it wouldn't have stopped the situation from happening.
No,
He still got the gun, you know?
he's still got the
That's
gun,
that's what I mean. Is like either way, people can get around it if they really want to. So would I support someone just being allowed to get it? No, but they're probably still going to be able to get it if they really want it.
no, but I mean, Cobain is kind of a different issue in the sense of like, drug addiction and mental issues.
Yeah.
So, I mean that, you kind of you got to tie everything together in that sense.
Mm. Yeah.
It's kind of like what Christopher Titus said. Like, if you have more voices in your head than bullets in your clip, like, no gun for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's true, man. Like, if you have fucking mental issues, a history of like depression, a history of aggression, like, no, you're not getting a fucking gun.
Yeah, like mental issues might be okay depending on what it is, but if it's aggression, then or certain things that might lead someone to act out an aggression, like maybe there's other things besides anger itself that might, psychologically reveal a tendency towards committing an act like that. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but anything like that that might show up in a person's history, I think should be a red flag, especially if they're looking to get any kind of high-powered weapon.
True, but I mean, if it is also mental issues, that brings up another thing. It's like, well, okay, what do we do for that? It's like,
Yeah.
well, we could take mental health a lot more fucking seriously here.
Yeah, we really do need to. And we that's certainly a big problem in our country is that we often neglect mental health for on a lot of levels too.
Yeah.
Like it's just not that big of a concern
Yeah.
for some reason.
And like here's my position on this too. It's like I don't know if you agree or not, but like if I had to pay an extra, let's say like $50 a year or $100 a year in taxes, but I got free medical care, or I could, go to my therapist for free and whatnot, like there's no copay or anything like that. Or if I have to pay for like pharmaceuticals, there's like a small like copay for that or whatever the fuck it is, depending on what it is. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think anything to support, mental health is a good thing, and certainly I'm still sort of facing a situation where I'm trying to get a therapist myself, and I'm having trouble just because of my insurance and things didn't really change the way I thought they did, and it's a long story that I don't need to get into, but long story short, like it has been kind of a pain in the ass, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, I mean, I don't know, my situation's a little different, but it would be nice if it were more accessible to everybody, and especially if the stigma wasn't there, because I think a lot of people hear like, oh, I'm going to therapy, or that, if it's suggested they should go to therapy, they're like, why? There's nothing wrong with me, or why is there something wrong with you? Well, no. I mean, I guess, yeah, technically there's something wrong with everybody, right? Nobody's perfect. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be about like, oh my God, I'm fucked up and, I smear my shit on the walls of the Capitol or something. It could just be like, who knows? Like I could just have, it could be any number of things. Or sometimes you just have shit that you need to talk about, or you just need an opinion that's not, like we talked about in the last podcast, where sometimes you just need an opinion that's not a friend, because despite trying to do the best for one another, you still have a bit of a bias and you want to support the other one. So sometimes it's good to have someone there who's like, no, that's shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're not thinking about it right.
Yeah, or
you need
just
a challenge.
Yeah, or even just somebody that's like not in your social circle that, kind of points you to a different direction. Says, well, okay, well, think about this, or what about this? Like, oh shit, kind of have that moment.
That's why I started listening to some of the to like news and stuff, or just sources from the right, because all growing up or up until recently, all I've ever really immersed myself in is stuff from the left, and like I said, I kind of found myself like not really questioning those thoughts, and once you see it from the other side, I think you get a whole nother different perspective on how things really are, because what is that saying about there's your side, my side, and the truth? Like that's kind of how it is,
That's fair enough, but
I don't know. But I mean, I do think mental health is really undervalued in our country.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
By a lot. Not just a long shot, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also that mentality of like, that example that I gave, like, oh, if I pay an extra $100 a year in taxes or whatever have you, like, there's people out there, no, that's fucking bullshit. I don't want to be paying for your fucking health. It's like, well, you're not. You're paying for your health. I'm paying for your health. I'm paying for my health as well. That person over there, they're paying for our health and their health as well. Like, it's a fucking, like, a community thing.
And think about it like this. That kind of perspective is sort of like the person who doesn't want to wear a mask because, well, I don't care if I get sick. Okay, well, that's all well and good, but it's
Yeah,
not about you getting sick
yeah. It's not
necessarily.